gonna like tour into the ground, and which I was glad about.
The first tour that we did was with a musician named Mike Watt. He is a legendary punk rock bass player. And he asked me if I would tour with him. And I said, yeah, man, how about this? I'll be in your band if my band can open up on tour. And Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam had done the same thing. And we said, cool, let's put together a tour where Eddie's other band, they were called Hovercraft, my band, Foo Fighters, would open up for Watt, and we would all be his band. It was just this like revolving cast of musicians. Each song would have a different lineup.
Instead of getting a tour bus for the first tour, like, we'll get a van. I'd never done a bus tour at that point in time, so to me it was totally obvious, you know, like, yeah, we're gonna get a van. What, we gotta buy a brand new one? Ha! Awesome!
We played 6 shows a week, and the places held maybe anywhere from 300 to 600 people, and Foo Fighters were making, I think, $500 a night or something like that.
As the tour was going on, the venues were getting bigger, and it started having that really nice but weird sort of pressure.
There was a lot of attention because it was Dave's first tour after Nirvana.
The shows had all of these Nirvana fans that came.
And they didn't know any of the songs because the record hadn't been out yet. So there was a song called Marigold by Nirvana that Dave had written and sang on. And it was the only thing they knew to yell out when we were playing. So you'd just hear, Marigold! Marigold! And we never played it. How weird that must have been for Dave.
Arriving in record stores Tuesday was one of the most buzzed about new releases of the year. The self-titled debut album by Nirvana drummer Dave Grohl's new band, Foo Fighters, who wowed crowds on Mike Watt's recent club tour.
Personally, to me, it was a big deal when that record came out, because rather than go in and record something as a band, we used the stuff I'd recorded on my own. That cassette. That's the first record.
Making their network television debut right here with us. We couldn't be happier. Ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters.
When I talk about it, Aries or treason's already new. Beg me to talk about it, I could stand to prove. If we can get around it, I know that it's true. When I talk to Foo Fighters, never was it true, but it's you.
I would like to think of this award as some sort of closure. It's stop throwing Mentos at us at our shows. That's what I'm trying to say.
Never was it true, but it's you.
There were lots of interviews and, you know, Dave not wanting to talk about Nirvana.
Every question in every interview was about Nirvana. You can imagine what they were, you know, like, is this song about Kurt? Take any song from the record. Is that song about Kurt Cobain?
The song has nothing to do with Kurt Cobain, yet I do owe more than I could possibly express to him. So
What's it like to be at a press conference and not being asked any questions?
It's fine with me because I didn't really want to fucking answer any of the questions that were asked.
It's an entirely different band, so I don't really compare the two at all.
There were some people that really resented me for starting this band. How dare you fucking start another band? They asked me, like, why did you decide to carry on and make music that sounds like Nirvana? And I said, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Like loud rock guitars and melodies and cymbals crashing and big-ass drums? Because that's what I do. I was in that band, and this is, like, that's what I do. What, you want me to fucking make a reggae record? The first couple years, I really felt like I had to explain and defend what I was doing because, first of all, you're just a drummer. And what, you're trying to sing? And also, you were in Nirvana, so what the fuck is this shit? So you just get to the point where you just think, you think, fuck you people.
And we're going to do a song that we wrote 3 days ago. My Hero.
I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Like, can Dave write more songs, or how was this writing process going to work? Will we suck? I had no idea. Like, does this band have a future or not? And I knew that we were going to be okay and be able to continue after I heard the song "My Hero" because it was great.
There were some songs that we just started writing and throwing into the set. There were only a couple songs that we had that were really good openers. I thought, God, I need to write like an opening song for us. In Europe and in England, when bands play, the audience doesn't really like beat the shit out of each other like they do in America. They do this bounce, right? Everybody bounces. So I wanted to write a song that everyone would like start bouncing to when we first came out and played. So I had a melody and a riff idea, but I didn't know the tempo, so I jumped up and down and I found a tempo by like bouncing. Tempo should be this. Down, 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 down. I wrote the song. I brought it to sound check. I said, hey, I have this new song. Let's learn it so we can open with it tomorrow night or tonight or whatever. So we sound checked. We ran through it. The next night, we opened up that song. The audience was going. It worked. It's like, wow, cool. Let's keep it.
I was waiting for something, maybe flying machines. That's when I found it. Yes, I didn't see. Put him on the ceiling, try to make it my own. People like to see, but you never seem to be in their space.
We played like 18,000 shows in 1 year. I'm exaggerating, but it felt like. Then we just toured a lot.
Pat was keeping track, and I remember Pat was always like, he'd just every other day look at me and be like, 12 months, 13 months, 16 months. And I was just like, I remember each time he would like tell me, I'd be just like, no fucking way.
We've been on tour for so long, and we've been a band for almost a year now, and I'd say about 7 months out of that year has been spent on the road.
I wasn't some kid who was just like, yeah! At that point, I was just kind of like, you know, I'm older and I'm lazier. What? And still, I'm playing the same 20 songs 200 or 300 nights a year.
This song's called For All the Cows.
This song is called For All the Cows. It's called For All the Cows.
This song's called For All the Cows. This song's called For All the Cows. I'm called a cow. I'm not about to blow it now. For all the cows. For all the cows.
The second album that we made, Color and Shape, we decided to work with this producer named Gil Norton. And Gil, at the time, was famous for making the Pixies records.
This is my first real recording process. Now there's a producer, like someone who's not just pressing play, but actually is saying, like, I think that should be a C, and you should also play it in time.
We went into the studio with Gil, and he worked us hard, real hard.
I was fucking terrible, and William was having his own challenges.
Gil called Nate and I the rhythmless section, so that was encouraging.
I could tell when, I had to do something a million fucking times that it was taking longer than I wanted to. And it was this sort of my first realization, like, oh, I'm not a fully formed musician. Like, I've got to keep getting better.
Constantly, there was this feeling that whatever song we were working on, Dave had a drum part for it already in his head or whatever.
When I've written a song, I have kind of a clear idea of where the basic root accents should lie. That's a fancy way of saying I know what the drums should sound like in my head as I'm doing this thing. That's not necessarily fair to say that as a songwriter, who's collaborating with other musicians.
You're the drummer for a band where your singer is the greatest rock and roll drummer in the world, looking over your shoulder, waiting for him to do it as good as him. All right, that's just fucked up pressure. I mean, regardless of how good you are or whatever it is, it's just fucked up pressure. And remember that William was a kid. I mean, he was really young.
I think that William played the best that he could, and sometimes it was great, and sometimes it wasn't.
What sucked about all that was, I don't think maybe the drum performances were the best. They weren't horrible.
If I listen to a song and I don't think it has the thing that it needs, it's not necessarily going to get past me and get on an album.
We left Seattle and went to Los Angeles to a different studio to finish this thing up. And Dave comes in and he's like, listen, we're going to redo, My Poor Brain or whatever the song is. Drum track's not quite right. I'm doing the drums on this one. We're just gonna redo it. William's up in Seattle at this point in time.
They'd call me down and say, oh, we need you to come play guitar in a song. And I'd go down and I'd be like, well, I already played this song. Well, we did it over. Oh, okay. Do it again. And then I go home, and then I get called down again. And they're like, oh, come down and play. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. I already played this song, and it just kept happening that way. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
And this happens 3 or 4 times. Like, hey, we're gonna try this one again.
And then it just ended up like, wait a minute, we're just doing this whole album over. I just remember asking someone, does William know?
William's still up in Seattle, so he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know that this is happening. And I'm stressing pretty hard because it's, that's going to be a big problem.
I was like, what's going on? Should I, book me a flight down there? I should go down. I should be down there. And then Dave calls me and he was like, dude, don't come down here. And I was like, why? And he goes, I'm redoing a couple of the drum tracks. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I met with Nate. And so I said, what's going on? And Dave's redoing a couple of the tracks, and he goes, is that what he told you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, he redid them all.